Hey guys, Troy here. I wanted to do a kind of like sequel to the first chord inversions video that I did, which showed kind of how to build chord inversions and some of the methodology behind doing that. And I actually put a link like somewhere in this area to that video if you want to check it out first, because it's going to explain some of the basics to building inversions. But now I wanted to kind of share with you the way when I was learning chord inversions and how, after I realized how important they were in a worship setting, what I would do to practice them. So I'm going to take you through, not really like an official exercise, but just what worked for me. And if it helps you, then great. And the idea is to help you familiarize yourself with chord inversions all over the neck. So when you're trying to learn parts and things, you can make sense of where to play them and the different tonalities that you can achieve by using different chord inversions. I kind of explained that in the Where Are You Playing Tone Tips video. How important where you play in the neck, not just the notes that you play, but where you play those notes in the neck, how important that is from a tone standpoint, and how that can help us achieve the tones that we're after. So let's jump into the exercise, and hopefully it's helpful for you. So when first learning inversions, I found it helpful from a practice standpoint to pick a chord progression, play it in multiple places on the neck with as little movement as possible. So for this example, let's pick a 4-1-6-5 in the key of A, which is D, A, F sharp minor, E. So in that case, there's lots of movement in the chord shapes I just picked, but let's pick some different shapes that will allow us to have as little movement as possible. So to do that, we'll start with one that's going to have probably a good combination between no movement at all and a little bit of movement to give the chord some more flavor. So we'll play our D like this, which is based on this chord. So there's your 4. Your 1 is going to be here, which is based on this chord. 6, just add the F sharp for the bass note. And then 5, so that brings us to. So I'm going to keep walking up, introduce higher notes. So in this case, for the next position, our 4 is going to turn into this. Our 1 staying the same. Our 6 is staying the same. And our 5 will turn into this. Now you can keep the E the same as the previous one, it would sound like this. So now let's keep going. We're going to play our 4 here, our 1 here, which is based on this shape, which is kind of like a C. If you were to toss a capo on the guitar, you could play a C like this. So 4, 1, 6, 5, or 5, however you decide to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to move it up here to this 4, 1, 6, 5. So to move to this 5 a little bit more efficiently, I'm going to change the 4 to this. This is your 1, also your 6, and your 5. So hardly any movement there at all. Okay, so now let's practice this really quick. The way that I would do it is I would walk up the neck, playing 4-1-6-5 with as many shapes as I could remember, and then once I got stuck, I'd start over and kind of keep going. So. was helpful. Again, it's not like a professional exercise. It's just something that worked for me as I was trying to get familiar with these chord inversions and learn how important they are in a worship setting. One of the most important tips I want you to take away is you don't need to play 6 strings when you're playing a chord. You don't need to play sometimes even 3 strings when you're playing a chord. 2 strings is going to be just fine with the amount of delay and reverb and overdrive we have going on. They're going to fill up a lot of space. And then also considering that you have a bass player, you have a synth player, and probably a rhythm guitar player that are playing right alongside you. They're going to fill that, let's say, lower end of the spectrum from a trying to make the band sound full standpoint. So if you have a rhythm guitar player playing a big G like this, you don't even need to play all those notes. You can just play these 2 or these 3. If you're going to play, say, a minor 6 chord, which is, like in this case, E minor, you can play just those 3 notes. Even if you don't play the E, just these 2 notes. Remember, your bass player is going to hit that E, and your rhythm guitar player is probably going to hit that E, which will create that minor tonality. You don't need to be the one that sets that tone all the time. The other tip I really hope you take away from this, and I didn't demonstrate it, but hopefully in the tutorials and playthroughs that I do, you see how this can work in practice, is that as you reduce the amount of strings that you're playing in these chords and figure out where you should play the part, so not just the notes, but where you should play the part. And I made a video about that as well. Where are you playing and how that can affect your tonality. I'll put a link again about right here if you want to check that one out. But the tip is you can increase the clarity of your tone by taking strings out of the chords you're playing. And you might find that you're happier with some overdrive pedals that maybe didn't have clarity before because you're playing too many strings, or say playing a D string in a chord and made it sound kind of muddy. But then you just take that chord right out, or take that string right out of the chord, or play that chord in a different spot. You may find that your tone becomes clearer. You might be happier with it. And then the last tip is it's not going to matter where you are on the neck. You can find these parts. You're not going to be stuck in just the position that you're most comfortable in. And I can relate that to a lot of Bethel stuff, man. I feel like I've been digging into Bethel a lot lately, and they use many, many different chord shapes. Not afraid to go all over the neck and play some different kind of chord shapes to achieve these parts, and it makes them sound really cool. The interaction between the strings when you play them in different parts of the neck is quite amazing, and I find it pretty awesome. So anyways, those are the 3 tips. I hope it's helpful, guys. This video, again, was how I learned how to play these inversions and get familiar with them. And if you want me to elaborate any more, feel free. Just put comments in the description, or put comments in the comments section of the video. Let me know what you want me to put out there for you to help, or if you just have basic questions. I'm always happy to interact with you guys and just give you tips, that have helped me along the way. And again, as always, it's about glorifying Jesus. We care to practice, we care to get better and improve our craft, only to create an amazing worship experience for the people of God, and help people that do not know Jesus know Him, and help people that do know Jesus to know Him better and understand His forgiveness and love every single Sunday and every single service that we have the privilege to play in and to lift His name high. So until next time, guys, I'll see you. Adios. One more tip, guys, I forgot to mention as I was uploading the video. I'm like, oh shoot, I should have mentioned that. Is to grab your favorite worship song, or a worship song for that matter, that's at a decent tempo, and play, say, the chorus over and over again using the different shapes we talked about. So for example, This Is Amazing Grace is 1-4-6-5. You could play that song, the chorus, it's like 100 BPM or something, and you could play the different shapes that you learned and that you're understanding how to build now. Play those different shapes, and that will help you hear how they sound in the mix in a band context, and it will force you to change those shapes, change to the various shapes cleanly, efficiently, and then help you hear what's going to sound best in each song. So hope that tip helps. Not that you probably wouldn't have figured it out anyways on your own, but that's something I also did, and I'm sorry that I didn't mention it with the rest of the video. So see you guys.